So I said, my God, man, I'm a young handsome officer that I can trip. Can you imagine the old ladies or the senior citizens walking around? So I sent an email to the city manager back then. I said, hey, you got to fix them. So that started my first involvement in St. Gabriel Valley in terms of civics.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast. Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you're from in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome.
All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. If you're a new listener here, we document and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you're a returning listener, thank you for tuning in. We're excited to bring you another guest from right here. So relax and enjoy this time with us. And we'll get into our pregame here with Scott. I've shared this on the show, I think many times, and regular listeners know that I've served in the military before.
Yeah. Now that was quite enlightening to me to hear from you about your military experience, because I came from a family where we had no military experience. I had none. My father had none. He was what was known as the sole surviving son. His only brother had been killed in World War II. So he never got into the military. But your explanation to me of how military structure is and your experience in the military was very enlightening. I have this respect for the military that I never was able to experience myself or see.
Yeah, it was a very enjoyable time for me. And I think you probably can gather that, right?
Right.
And just reflecting today, I was listening to a book by Derek Gaunt. He works with the Black Swan Group, and he was talking about how the military, specifically, well, he said the Army, but the military in general, they're structured exactly the same, right? There's like squadron level, battalion, they're different in maybe different services, but the way they're broken down, they're exactly the same. And the only difference is the personalities and leadership. And he said you can look at one segment and one is, morale is down, everybody's hanging their head, and, performance is low. And you look over here, they're happy, excited, they're mission oriented, and you're like, there's a good leader over there. And, there's...
And the way you described your leaders, these were people that you had great respect for.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So many stories where, I think I'm going to get in terrible trouble. And they turned that around as opportunity to demonstrate that they really cared about me as a person, really cared. And,
right.
And I was, those moments really stuck out in my mind and really shaped how later on I led others, even my children, right? Incredible leadership there. And I don't know that that's always the case in the military, but what I always tell people when they come with a preconceived notion or this idea of what they think military is like, I said, well, here you have a boss, in the civilian world, and he's a jerk to you. Doesn't really mean much, You quit, you yell at each other, whatever. But in the military, there may come a point when both of you have loaded weapons. And that's a great equalizer. Now you're talking like this is very different. So, yeah. You have to lead with respect and, have the hearts of your people. Well, I think there's a lot of people in the San Gabriel Valley that have served. I know that there's recruiting centers everywhere. If you want to know where some of these recruiting centers are or other things in the San Gabriel Valley, don't forget to check out San Gabriel Valley Now, your source for city news, announcements, events, special savings, and everything SGV. Check them out on Instagram, sgv.now. They put out great stuff there, a lot of information about the cities, and read their new SGV Now magazine. I guess not new, several months old now, on their website, sgvnow.com. Well, there was our pregame, Scott. What does it have to do with our guest? Well, our guest today has given years of his life in service to our country. His name is Commander Fong, and he's of the United States Navy Reserve. Commander, welcome to the show.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say a few good words first. Thank you, Russell, what Mr. Watson? Warmth, bringing me here. Okay, so I have to say a few words in my own native language. 大家好，我係方志榮，美國海軍中校。Thank you.
Awesome. So I understood about 2 words when you introduced yourself to in Mandarin. It would be da jia, hao, da jia.
Well, I was speaking Cantonese.
I know. So that's why I only could pick up.
Don't underestimate Cantonese, okay? Not that because I'm a native Cantonese speaker, okay? If you go to San Francisco right now, majority of the Chinese population still speak Cantonese. Only San Francisco City College and Stanford University is stand up above the crowd willing to offer Cantonese language.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Stanford does?
There's a lot of resistance, okay? But give you a joke, okay? Americans speak Cantonese. You know why? 150 years ago, all the Chinese immigrants speak Cantonese only, okay?
Oh, yeah.
If you go to Defense Language Institute, where the premier language institute in this country, they used to teach Cantonese only because their situation changed, the politics, the geopolitics. Now it's all Mandarin, you know. But I'm one of the few foreign area officers in the Navy that speak both Cantonese and Mandarin for good reasons. You know?
Oh, really?
Wow.
You speak, you're one of the very few.
I'm sure there are more than one people, okay?
Well, Commander Fong, your first name is Arthur Fong.
Yes,
What is your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
Wow. If I start saying that, I'm not talking about 10 years, 20 years, okay? I'm talking about 40 years now, okay? Let me start. I landed in Los Angeles in 1981. I was supposed to be a student in Canada, but somehow it was very different. I was supposed to be a foreign student and finished my high school. So I landed in Los Angeles in 1981. Imagine San Gabriel Valley in the 1980s compared to here, okay? But subsequently, I graduated from college here, and I joined the city of Los Angeles, do my city employment. And in 1997, I joined the Navy Reserve, and I just retired from city of LAPD as an IT guy for 30 years services there. But I'm still in the Navy Reserve, okay? I'm still serving. I haven't done yet. So this is why I have a lot to share, especially about San Gabriel Valley. I'm not a recruiter. Let me stress that again. I am not a recruiter. I'm a community advocate. I strongly believe in serving the country in uniform. And I'm telling a lot of immigrants, especially in San Gabriel Valley. I'm a friend of two recruiters, okay? The Army and the Navy recruiter here, the commander in this region. I work for them as volunteer because I do believe in service.
So you said 1981.
Yes.
You landed here. From where?
Well, again, I was landed from Hong Kong. Back then we call it British Hong Kong because a lot of Americans, a lot of sailors, soldiers in the military, they could not relate Hong Kong to British Hong Kong. Even when I fill my paperwork in the Navy, I have to push British Hong Kong because that's distinguished between British Hong Kong versus Hong Kong, China in terms of background check and everything, you know. So I was from British Hong Kong.
And where in the San Gabriel Valley did you land?
I like this question, okay. Maybe Mr. Ramos will, if I ask you guys, what is the center of universe in San Gabriel Valley? Can you guys answer that question?
I think so.
Yes.
Go ahead.
San Gabriel Mission.
Monterey Park.
Got it. You know,
okay. If I had the perspective of that question, I would have answered yes.
Right, yeah. So he was right.
Yeah.
The San Gabriel Mission.
Yeah.
But I'm right, and you're right. It's
you're all right.
From the immigrant experience
Yes.
of the 80s, 70s, 80s, and on. It's Monterey Park.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so funny when everybody went to Monterey Park in the 70s and the 80s. If you know the history, when people are making enough money, they left Chinatown. Guess which direction they go? They come to Monterey Park first. And then at that time, because of the Taiwan situation, a lot of Taiwan immigrants come over and they settle in Monterey Park. Many people didn't even know that they nicknamed that town called Little Taipei. You know, some people still do that. I just went to Taiwan a couple of months ago and I told them I live in Little Taipei. You know, they said, what? Where? I said, Monterey Park, California. So to add on to that, my first official address in this country was P.O. Box 454, Monterey Park, California, 91754. Mm-hmm. That's why, Russia, when I passed by that post office, it gave me all the good feeling about this country, Monterey Park.
The one on Garvey?
Yes, sir.
I grew up in Monterey Park.
You know, the street is right at Russell and Garvey.
Oh, Russell, huh?
Yeah. I grew up on McFerrin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very close.
So that's where I started in San Gabriel Valley in 1981.
You were right there at the beginning of the real transformation of the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah, again, today when I speak as a regular citizen, okay? I'm a reservist. All I'm saying is my personal opinion, nothing reflected or represent DOD or U.S. policy. Okay, but back then that was very interesting in Monterey, part of Victoria. Have you ever heard that English as the only official language in a municipal government? Have you ever heard that law before?
Well, you're talking about the 80s in
80s, yeah.
Yeah, in Monterey Park.
See, the Monterey Park, they declared English as the only official language in the city. And guess what happened? Mr. Lawyer, what happened to that law?
Well, that law was challenged.
Yeah.
And it was overturned, yeah.
I can see that, when you have an influx, a lot of immigrants who don't speak the language, and it creates some uneasiness, Turn out that 40 years later, I have the same feeling myself too, so sometimes...
you sometimes feel that
when you have
there should be one language?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't take my position, okay? It's a very complicated question,
right,
okay?
Yeah.
Going back to Monterey, but like I say, influx of Taiwanese immigrants coming to Monterey Park, and then the original people living there feel like, how come this group of people don't speak English? So they feel better to pass the law. So English as the only official language, okay? So they did a lot of things. We rejecting the library books in Chinese and a lot of Chinese stores and roadside like that. It created an impact even now, okay? But now I look back, in 2023, a lot of things happen in the country, same thing, like I remember I just mentioned about Cantonese versus Mandarin, the same feeling, So sometimes you have to step back and think about all this conflict, language and culture. In America is a big melting pot. If you are willing to step one back and include everybody. Going back to the military, U.S. military is the best organization in terms of including everybody. Once you put on the uniform, they only look at your rank and your performance. Nobody care what color of skin, where you come from. Russell, true or not?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I mean, when you're off duty, then it may be different, but in uniforms like that.
A lot of people ask me, is there any discrimination problem in the military? Or you are Chinese from Hong Kong, from China, from Taiwan, Mexican from Mexico, stuff like that. I say, you know what? I see more injustice in my civilian organization or challenge in the street than when I'm in uniform. And I love my Navy. That's why I'm almost 60 years old. I refuse to step down. I continue to serve. And I find it so positive for anyone. I volunteer a lot of my time in St. Gabriel Valley, helping a lot of young recruits to be successful in military. I mentor a lot of new immigrants. That's why the organization of Chinese American Military Support is a non-profit organization. Only one sole purpose, helping people joining the military with a good transition. Because a lot of new immigrants, they don't know what is best for them.
I think you said 1987 you joined.
Well, I joined the Navy Reserve in 1997.
Oh, 97.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is why I say everything I say about it is 10, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
So what was it that led you to join at that time?
The truth is midlife crisis, okay? The reserve, a lot of people don't know that the bumper sticker is still true, okay? 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. So when you have a busy job in the city of Los Angeles, doing the computer work, crazy work, inside a police department and stress, when someone tell you can put on the uniform, do something totally different in San Diego and away from home, I say, why not, man? Okay, sign me up. So 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. But again, I'm a true example of a successful reservist career. You don't just work 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year to promote to commander. It's a dual career. You take care of your civilian career, whatever that is, dentist, lawyer, broadcaster, service person, and then you have to maintain your military career. 100% dual career at the same time. It's not a joke.
So once a month you go to San Diego?
Well, whatever that unit is, okay, but in the Navy I went to San Diego, so. And then,
are you still going then?
Right now I go to Pearl Harbor.
Really?
Yeah, but again, another...
Every month?
Yeah, again, I have to let the listener listen again. The country does not pay for your transportation costs to report.
Oh.
How? You will laugh about, okay, in the Washington time, if you are militia in Southern Virginia, you have to report, you have to ride your own horse, report to the armory in D.C., you put on the uniform, then the national military will take care of you. So same thing apply here. As a reservist, it's your responsibility to report to the armory, to the base, to report to duty. So if I fly to Hawaii, I don't call it Hawaii, I call it Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor is more positive than Hawaii, in terms of vacation feeling. So I have to pay my own ticket.
Oh,
Yeah, it's about $650 every time I fly there. So.
really?
So as a reservist, you have to be very dedicated
Yeah.
and disciplined.
And do you stay on a base there?
Yeah, once you get in there, they'll give you we call berthing or lodging or hotel or whatever you call it. So, but
in a big room with a lot of beds.
Again, it's not high hotel for sure. Okay, so.
Well, I want to go back to San Gabriel Valley and what it was like for you growing up in that time. For the listener who
Okay.
maybe new here or younger listener, like what was that experience growing up as a immigrant in the San Gabriel Valley at that time?
Again, another good place I want to start about San Gabriel Valley is Cal State, LA. I went there twice. What does that mean? I went there for college, and then I went back there for my master's degree. You know why I picked Cal State, LA? Because I live in Monterey Park, all right? And at the same time, back then on the Valley Boulevard is not Valley Boulevard nowadays, okay? Nobody go east of Garfield because it's just something that you try to avoid, nothing to see, okay? But there are a few restaurants popping up here and there, and that's about, okay? And back then, the Garvey Avenue is a lot more popular than Valley, okay? So there are no hotel, no Sheraton, no Hilton, no Courtyard Marriott, and anything beyond New Avenue is like, we never went there, okay, in the 80s, okay? And also, the current 99 Ranch Market on Delmar and Valley used to be what do you call that theater? Movie theater.
A drive-in.
Drive-in, okay?
Oh.
See, I don't even know how to say that now.
Yeah.
Used to be drive-in, okay? So Cal State LA is a big employment center, big place we hang out. And the reason I picked Cal State LA because it's so close to the Chinese restaurant I work. I tell people, okay, back then, nowadays when you get up from school, what do people do? Take out their iPhone, go to the beach, go to party. Back then, when you get out from school, where you go? You go to Garfield and Valley to start to work as a waiter.
What restaurant?
Well, the restaurant, that's my number 3 place I want to mention, 203 West Valley Boulevard, okay? But it's different name now. It used to be called Jumbo Seafood Restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah. So again, in the 80s, life was simple. The building no higher than 1 story on Valley and Garvey Avenue. And most people, most of the parents went to Cal State LA. Mark Keppel High School used to be the bottom of the bottom.
I went to Mark Keppel.
And you went to Cal State.
I did,
LA.
yeah.
Oh, so there are so many things in similar,
Yeah.
Garfield and Valley had the hat still at that time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's still there.
Yeah, it's still
right?
there.
Yeah.
Well, again, going back to the early 70s and I come in the 80s, because the school district was so bad in Alhambra, Monterey Park. You know what is the number 1 private school in Monterey Park? New Avenue School. Many of my politician friends or elected official friends, their son and kids went to New Avenue High School on New and Garvey. Kid you not, because the public school is so good nowadays, it drives the business out. they close.
Oh, yeah.
So this is how it changed, okay? In the 70s and the 80s, new flux of immigrants from Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Vietnam. Vietnam, I forget that group. So it created a new phenomenon in Monterey Park, Alhambra, San Gabriel Valley, okay? So the school district wasn't good at all. So private school is the way to go, New Avenue School. Can you imagine nowadays, Mark Keppel High School is the premier school in the San Gabriel Valley?
Yeah.
So rest of I agree now. So. By the way, my 2 daughters went there too.
To Mark Keppel.
Yes, they did.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely changed. I knew that it had become one of the top. I didn't know that it was the top in the San Gabriel Valley Public School, or one of. But yeah, it's definitely changed.
Well,
sure.
I give the credit. One of the teacher, he is so good, Mr. Tran. Okay, he graduated from UCLA. Guess what branch of military he served? Navy. So he was my 2 daughters' teacher, both in INES, and then he was doing so good in INES. They moved him to Mark Keppel. The LA County, the decathlon competition, Mark Keppel was number 1 for the last 2 years.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Mr. Wong, you better pay more attention to the success in St. Gabriel Valley.
Yeah, right. Because it used to be up in like Calabasas or
always
North.
Anything but St. Gabriel Valley, right?
Yeah.
But they are so good now. Okay, like going back to the school. Okay, used to be the number one elementary school is Brightwood up on the hill. Okay, so I'm the kind of person who always who go against the biggies. Okay, so I sent my 2 daughters to INES. Okay, and Mr. Tran was the teacher there. Guess what? When my 2 daughters went to INES, INES beat Brightwood for 2 years. It was so fun.
Wow.
Yeah, go back. Okay, so INES come out from nowhere and become number 1 elementary school in the whole school district in the area.
I think you went to Inez, Russell.
did, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Russell, you're my long lost son.
Yeah.
But I entered the military in '96.
All right, you.
Oh, so almost the same year.
Yeah, almost the same year.
Well, except you quit it too early. Otherwise, we'll be buddies. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, and you're in different branches.
Well, I
Which is better, incidentally, Army or Navy?
okay. Then we have Crosstown rifle, branch rifle. But Russell, I didn't tell you. I went to U.S. Army War College in 2013. War College is preparing senior officer to learn more about world stuff. Okay, so I spent 1 whole year in U.S. Army War College.
Oh, really? 1 year.
1 year. So when I say I'm a reservist, okay, there's no way you could do 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year to have a successful career. So at a certain time, you have to I did 3 deployments.
Oh, yeah? Where'd you go?
I went to Kuwait. I went to UAE. I went 1 year in San Diego, all after 9/11. So I remember when I first joined the Navy in '97. I went to a Navy Reserve Center in North Island, San Diego. A guy looked like Mr. Walmouth. Okay, he bald head, white guy, stand up. Ensign Fong, you'll be lucky to call up once to duty in your career. Guess what? I got 3 already. I didn't even count those 3-month duty, serving Obama. Now his first island chain, second island chain is still going on. So that's why I say I did a lot in the Navy and the Army. When I went to Guam 2 years ago, I did a lot of exercise with the Army too.
Earlier when you mentioned the 2 weeks a year, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, in my head, my eyes rolled because I was like, that's the bare minimum. and a weekend can be Thursday to Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. They'll say that and you're like, oh, okay, I can do that. Yeah. Sometimes it's.
Well, as an officer, if you are serious about your career, the country will pay you 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. That's it. The work doesn't stop up to 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Just like the lawyer, okay? If you have a phone call from the client, you go to the court, that's on your, lawyer is different, okay? So in the military, it's 24/7. One time I remember I come home from CDR 6 o'clock, I say hi to my wife. I went to the study room and hold a conference meeting on the phone for 4 hours. No pay.
Now, you're commander. Can you explain what that means, especially for someone like me who doesn't know military structure?
In the military, there are 2 kinds of ranking structure, enlisted versus officer. Think about enlisted like technical technician guys who are very good at what they are doing, versus officers like a manager. You manage a battalion in the Army, you manage a ship in the Navy. You set direction policy for the enlisted guy to do, So doesn't mean that they won't get hurt, okay? But the bulk of work is done by enlisted, or in the Army they call NCO, non-commissioned officers. So officers start 01, 02, 03, 05, 06. Army and Navy is slightly different. So 05 is commander, equivalent to lieutenant colonel in the Army or the Marine Corps or the Air Force. Navy is trying to be different. We follow the Royal Navy standard. So we call ourselves commander. The next rank will be captain, which, by the way, I just got selected to be promoted to captain in October, okay?
Oh, wow.
So it's a late arrival of spring, okay? But in the Army, a commander rank is called lieutenant colonel, and then the next rank will be colonel. So a little bit different.
Well, it sounds like a pretty high level.
Well, in Chinese, we say that 一山還有一山高. There's always one mountain higher than you.
Oh, yeah.
So behind me, even you are 06, you have 07, you have lieutenant, you have a brigadier general, major general, lieutenant general, and general. Okay, so in the Navy we don't call general, we call admiral. And you look at the chairman of the Joint Chief is a 4-star. In the Second World War, we have 5 stars, only during wartime, like Nimitz, MacArthur, Bradley. Those are 5 stars, but only happen during the wartime. So that's why I'm saying they call us a senior officer. Senior officer means you're supposed to have white hair and think better than the other guys, you know. So.
Yeah. In the Army, they call them a full bird.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know why they use a bird? My mentor one time, you know, when you become a senior officer or 06 or colonel or captain, your eyes like an eagle, you know, you fly high, but your eyes still see all the prey, all the little animal running down there 10,000 feet away. So that's why you're a full bird and or carry an eagle as insignia on your rank. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you said, I think, 30 years IT with LAPD.
Yes,
and
sir.
that's your parallel civilian career with your military career. Yeah. And so you were working with LAPD, but you're living still in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said you had some other work or
Yeah.
things associated with this San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah, well, I strongly recommend people to get involved. Okay, when I say get involved, means complain to your city government. You know, there's one difference between in a dictatorship, authoritative government, not too far away from this country. You know, you can't complain. Right? But in American structure, they encourage citizens to get involved and participate. I always use this example, show and tell. Okay, I'm sure Russell did a lot of show and tell when he was in kindergarten. You know, you come home on the weekend, you do something, you come back on Monday and tell the students what you do. Okay, you know, back then in Hong Kong, you better keep your mouth shut. There's no such thing as show and tell to your teacher in class. Okay, so I came to Monterey Park. I remember when I bought my first home in Monterey Park. You know, I moved to Warren High and come back, and I was doing jogging in the morning at 05:00, 5 a.m. I tripped over because there was a concrete block in the sidewalk. So I said, my God, man, I'm a young handsome officer that I can trip. Can you imagine the old ladies or the senior citizens walking around? So I sent an email to the city manager back then. I said, hey, you got to fix that. So that started my first involvement in San Gabriel Valley in terms of civics. So one lead to another I become, and then the next thing is, I'm very famous in Monterey about the shopping cart. I can't stand the shopping cart all over the city. People treat it as like a benefit to push a shopping cart back to the home. But usually the shopping cart always stuck in your driveway or your front lawn, okay? So I worked with the, back then, the council member Mike Ng to fix the law, okay? But it does take 10, 15 years to solve all the problem, okay? So one lead to another. By then, they say, hey, the city manager told me, Arthur, why don't you I appoint you as a commissioner. So the first commission I did was the beautification committee for Monterey Park. So you go around the city to award people to have a nice landscape and front yard. I was laughing. Okay, I'm in the middle. I want to be the other guy. I want to punish people for doing bad things instead of rewarding people for doing the good thing. And then I later on become a planning commission, and I really love the traffic commissioner job. So that's why I told myself I'd rather be a community advocate than be an elected officials. I think I'm more efficient in terms of, you know, rallying support and sharing my value to doing good thing than trying to become one of them. I give them those people credit. Okay, I just can't do that, you know. So I involve a lot in City of Monterey Park in terms of a commission job.
How does your military background contribute or flavor, you know, that role?
You know, so funny. If I tell you too, back then when I first landed in this country, I was shy. I was inward thinking. I like to hide in the cave. I cannot stand in the front and talk to the people. Since I started working for the military and the Navy, I can stand up anytime, anywhere to make speech like this without shame. So the military kind of push people out of the cage, talk to people from all over the country, all over the world, and you better be outspoken and learn your right and benefit and stand up on your ground. Otherwise, you don't go very far. Okay, but what I'm saying is the military teach people how to be self-disciplined, believe in yourself, and teamwork and ethical. This is the last part, ethical. I like the best, you know. And so when you add this element together, it's the best that you go back to your city and serve as a commissioner or just an advocate or resident, tell the city what's going on, what's wrong with it. Can you guys fix it and stuff like that.
You said you work with the recruitment centers for both Army and Navy.
Yeah.
Is that right? Are you focusing on Asian recruits?
Yeah. So as a coincidence, back then, 20 years ago, there was a Navy recruiting station in Alhambra on Main and Garfield. So somehow they need some translator to talk to the parents. Again, in St. Gabriel Valley, we have a high concentration of Asian immigrants, and especially from China, Hong Kong, Taiwan. So the culture was serving the military is one of the bottom of the bottom job that you want to take. So I want to change that. The reason I get involved because I did 25 years so far and I'm still doing it, and I earn a lot of respect, and I want to share this value with the St. Gabriel Valley residents. So Chinese American military support serve anyone living here. Actually, we have chapters all over the country now, in an official manner. But I know it's difficult to touch on every single group, ethnic group, because every ethnic group has its challenge, questions, and problems or what. But as long as when it comes to Chinese American, I know what the basic foundation value is. So this organization did not start by me, but by a group of family members, and during the beginning of Iraq War, 2003. So I took over about 10, 15 years ago. Now my motto is serve the country while support your community. Serve your country while support your community. So mainly concentration on Chinese American, and because of the language barrier, the cultural differences. So not just Navy but Army as well, because I give you a very good example. Mark Keppel High School, are you telling me that 100% of the graduate will go to college like this? No, right? Again, I am not a recruiter. For example, in the Navy, they have a nuclear technician job, but no Chinese American would love to take that job, because they strongly believe that if my kid is good at math, I suppose go to Harvard, But I turn around, you look at the generation now, does every one of them want to go to college right now? And let me stress it again, I believe in college education, period. I have 2 master's degrees and 1 bachelor degree. What I'm saying is, if the new generation or the current generation feel like I want to take a pause and do something first before I go to college, the military will give you the best opportunity. You do 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, however that is, and then they give you a college bill. The nuclear test, you sign up, they give you, I forgot, don't hold me on it, 50 or 75,000 on it, sign bonus, and it take you 3-4 years to go to school before they even start working the first thing. So tell me one job in St. Gabriel Valley in the country will teach you to play with nuclear. When you're done with your military service, you can decide, I want to be a nuclear engineer, I want to be a nuclear officer, and move up. So if you tell them Mark Keppel student, is it true that the first day you graduate from Mark Keppel, you landed in UC Berkeley or Harvard is the best for your life? Or you have someone like, let me take a pause, I went to university. I went to Navy or Army, do something really fun I like. And then you took the college GI Bill and then move on to college. I use this good example. Lately, there's a brand new Hong Kong Chinese immigrant from Hong Kong. They graduated from St. Gabriel High School. The mommy talked to me, and however she believed in it, she sent both of her kids to U.S. Navy instead of college right away. And she thinks that's the right thing to do, and it's good for the kids. And now, again, I think the culture in St. Gabriel Valley is changing. And
well, that's interesting. And you can educate me a little bit, and I'll help you with recruiting. But what I'd like to know is, when you're talking to these kids at Mark Keppel High School or wherever, are they going in as enlisted, or are they going in as non-enlisted? I forget what you call the
officer.
Other officer.
Yeah.
They go in as officer?
Well, again,
officer training?
There are 2 choices, You can start as enlisted.
What does enlisted mean versus officer?
Very simple. If you want to be an officer, you have to be minimum have a college degree and a U.S. citizenship. Other than that, you can start as enlisted, means soldiers, sailors, from the bottom rank and move up.
And they are receiving a bonus of 50 or 75,000 or some kind of bonus,
right?
Though?
Well, depends. I cannot speak for the Navy or Army, but during the recruitment time, sometimes they'll get bonus. Like lately, you can check on the website. As far as I know, if you want to be a nuclear tech, they give you 50,000 or 75,000 just to sign up. Others maybe at 10,000, 20,000. Okay. Now again, I'm not trying to recruit. I'm saying that there is an information that you can digest.
Yeah, and then for any of them, if they complete a certain number of years, they get they're entitled to the GI Bill.
GI Bill. Now going back to the St. Gabriel Valley community of parents. Okay, I tell people you can join the army for 4 or 5 years. Let's say you come up with a GI Bill. I can tell you have enough money to go to USC. How? You spend first 2 years going to a community college. Basically, it's fun, right? Fee, right? And then the last 2 years you go to. People love to go to USC for whatever reason, So with that GI Bill, you can have a lot of choices,
And Russell, you used the GI Bill, I remember.
I did. Every service member will get that. I also got the Army College Fund, which was in addition to the GI Bill.
So my point is, I am not saying that this is the only way to do it. Someone will go straight to Harvard, Caltech, no doubt about. Okay. I encourage St. Gabriel Valley kids and residents think about the military career. And you can go to ROTC program. That's another way. So you pick your college and you apply for the scholarship. Famous school will be even Stanford, Harvard, MIT, UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC San Diego. You can go in as a reserve officer training corps while you're going to college. When you're done, you become a second lieutenant or ensign in the Navy or the Army. Okay, so this is another route. The earlier I was talking about the enlisted route. For some people, maybe their GPA is not that. In St. Gabriel Valley, you don't go by 4.0, right? You go by 5.0 or something like that. So for a lot of times, if you have a good plan, you may end up ahead of your peers who went straight to college. There's no one road to Rome. Okay, the old saying. There's multiple ways to achieve there. Mm-hmm. So if I tell a lot of people in St. Gabriel Valley, "What, you go to Cal State LA?" Yes, I am. I'm a proud Cal State LA alumni. Okay, so in America, there's so many opportunities, so many ways to achieve yours to get to that point. And again, I just bring it up that serving the country in uniform is a great way to achieve and also help St. Gabriel Valley to put us on the map.
Yeah, for sure. I think the military afforded me a whole bunch of opportunity, not just in experience, but in education. If I would have stayed in, I would be at 27 years right now. That's crazy to think of that.
A lot of people leave at 20 years, I think, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I could have retired at 37, had 20 years of military service, and then entered the civilian workforce with that.
I had an uncle who put in 20 years service in the Navy, and then he retired, but he was in the Merchant Marine after that, or he was always on boats, but he was drawing like 2 full salaries, I think.
Yeah. Again, military still carry that 20 years pension system. They change a little bit. Now they almost like a 401k. You put in something, they'll give you something, but still a good pension system. Like you say, if you do 20 years, you get a decent amount of pension. You retire young, you can work. I want to come back to the tuition. St. Gabriel Valley centric, okay. So I went to a party. I'm also a real estate license in California too. Believe it or not, okay. And but I spend more time in the military than doing buy and sell houses, as a part-time agent. So I went to a real estate party. Typical St. Gabriel Valley parents, what do they think about if their kids is going to medical school or dental school? They would say, "Oh, I got to get a loan, sell my house, or give them $500,000, $1 million loan. Oh man, it's going to be tough." Okay, and then I start laughing. Okay, it's only St. Gabriel Valley parents will be so worried about their kids going to medical school. If you go outside, join the Army, join the Navy, the country will pay for it. Well, no, I can't let my son do that. Well, I tell you a good story. Okay, this kid was born in Georgia. His parents from Taiwan. Okay, guess how much is USC dental school nowadays? A few years ago was $400,000. I'm talking about 8 years ago. So the Army paid full scholarship for this young kid to go to USC dentistry. Okay, or his commitment I forgot. Okay, don't hold it for it. Okay, it's like 5 or 6 years. Now he's done, loan free. He's practicing in one of the high end area near Huntington Beach or over that area. Okay, so now what does he have in the resume? 6 years in the U.S. Army and USC and doing great. So think about that. So this is why I say I St. Gabriel Valley centric. I talk to the parents. Okay, I say only you guys worry about not able to pay for your kids to go to medical school. You know, and then maybe I'm transformed by American culture and the military. I say if my daughter says she wants to go to medical school, I say I'm sorry. I'm a poor St. Gabriel Valley daddy. Okay, you have to do the military and let the Army and Navy pay for it. You know, so
Yeah, it's important to get that information to the parents, right, who may not know, and it's also challenging to say to a young person, look at the next 8 years of your life, actually, or 10 years maybe, you know, and that's challenging to be like, here, make this commitment right now. It's going to benefit you later, but you're going to be committed for 10 years.
In St. Gabriel Valley, how do we pass a message to the young kids and the parents? Okay, so this is why, being an immigrant turned American, I went through the role. In the military, we strongly believe in mentorship. Mentorship means someone walk before you and come back and share the experience with you. It will save you a lot of time. So in my plan is, as Chinese American military support, I'm the president. I'm working with the Army Recruiting Command and Navy Recruiting Command. I want to bring a professional symposium into St. Gabriel Valley. I hope that Russell and Mr. Ramos, you can help us sponsor this. Okay, strictly benefit for the community. Like what I just mentioned about what does it do to your kid if you join the military. You can be a doctor, lawyer, dentist, nurse, or a little nuclear technician, or even someone serving on board the ship for 4 years, just chipping paint or serving meals. Okay, I tell you, if you want down the road, you want to be a successful elected officials, House representative in Congress, senator, with that military portfolio or resume, it will do you a lot of up check. Okay, so just like they say, how many people in the Congress right now serve in the military? It's only have a handful. Versus if you serve in the military, you understand the hardship, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, and why you want to serve. You know, I want to bring this to St. Gabriel Valley. Don't just look at that, you know, typical Chinese culture. You being a soldier, you're being killed or shot at. I'm not trying to exclude that possibility because there's always one. But people didn't realize that. Maybe you ask the lawyer, okay, people killed on the road in the accident in the U.S. highway, tens and 30,000 a year. How about children got drowned in the swimming pool, 5,000 or 6,000 a year, easy. So when you look at those numbers, joining the military is not the most dangerous job under the sun. Again, unless you're a special force or certain category, you have to use guns. Okay. Otherwise, if you're a lawyer, doctor, technician, you know, nuclear tech, whatever that is, okay. And I'm a foreign area officer. My specialty is language, culture, and history in a particular area. I advise my senior commander to do a lot of policy thing and stuff, or analyze a situation or region. So. And also I tell St. Gabriel Valley parents, okay, what is the number one biggest budget in the whole federal state government? Can any one of you answer that?
Military.
DOD, Department of Defense.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like $750 billion a year or something. Okay, so in a big organization in the United States of America government, okay, don't you want to be part of it or small? Either you contribute or, you know, so what I'm saying is if you are not a lawyer, a doctor, or making good money out there in St. Gabriel Valley, okay, being a military profession is one of the best things happening right now for a lot of young kids, non-immigrants or also, you know, born here. So think about it. And I'm hoping that down the road in a few months, I will work with the recruiting command to bring a professional symposium to St. Gabriel Valley.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, Arthur, we ask each guest to bring an item of significance with them. What did you bring with you today? Well.
Okay, I did so many things the last 25 years. You know, if you come to my retirement ceremony, I'll show you 2,000 of those. Okay, but today particularly, I have to say, I bring a picture I shake hand with President Obama, number 44. Okay, this is why, as a reservist, you never know what your next assignment will be. Okay, so in 2008. I think 2009, I'm sorry. So we are calling up to go to Washington, D.C. There's a duty called Armed Force Inauguration Committee. So by United States law, the new incoming president has to be escorted in ceremonial by the U.S. military. So it's still carry on right now. So every 4 years, the president, after he is sworn in, so we have a ceremony. That's why you see all the marching stuff like that. So that year, I was picked as a first and second family military assistant. I thought, what do you mean by first and second family? Means that you have to take care of the first family, president and the vice president incoming during the whole weeks of event and celebration and party. So I was so excited. Okay, turned out that I was a lieutenant commander already. I was too senior, but I managed about 8 or 10 of those people. They are ensign or lieutenant or J01 young people. Or you take care of Obama's brother, you take care of Michelle Obama's sister, you take care of Joe Biden's son. So I arrange all this stuff and then sit behind and make sure everything happened well on that night. Okay, so suddenly in one of the afternoon, they say, "Hey, we have a VIP coming in. Everybody stand in the corridor and get ready." I say, "Who the hell that is?" Turn out that Obama show up, and remember back then he was a rock star doing those just after the election. So you know what? In my mind, I said, "Man, I better ask him a lot of good questions." So as he walked in front of me and extend his hand to shake hand with me, my mind was frozen. I could not ask anything, but just stick my hand out and look at him and then he walked by. And then after he shook my hand and then he went by me. I'm glad that the public affairs officer took a picture of that. Okay, so that's why I keep that picture. It's one of the best collection piece in my military career. I still have it and show it to Russia. I hope that you guys can take a look of it. Take a look at good picture. Okay, in 2009 November, President Obama and myself had no gray hair, zero.
Yeah.
If you take a look at the picture of Obama again and me after 8 years. It's a lot of
the change is profound, isn't it?
So that is a good evidence when you move up to become a senior officer or his position to a president. It does do a lot of damage to your hair.
Yeah.
Well, Arthur, we have to move forward with the show, so we're going to come back and learn what you're doing now in the San Gabriel Valley, and let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
At Warmouth Law, they believe that just because you speak a foreign language, come from a different culture, or simply don't know how to navigate the legal system, that should not prevent you from compensation from injury or receiving benefits. Their multicultural staff have been helping SGVers like you for over 38 years. Visit law888.com or call them at 626-784-7017 and tell them you heard about them on this podcast.
All right, we're back with Arthur. Arthur, before we move on, we're going to go on to our segment of the show where we ask a question from these cards, and they're just sort of like a way to learn a little bit more about our guest and for the listeners to learn a little bit more about us here. So you can choose to answer it or not. It's up to you. Okay.
As long as it's not political sensitive, I can answer anything. Okay.
What's your favorite quote?
Oh, those people who ignore history will doomed to repeat itself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I like that one too.
You know why I say that? Because I talk about this our history and what's happening in South China Sea and all this thing every day. So I told them, Winston Churchill once said that, but unfortunately, human beings always forget the history.
Yeah.
So make sure St. Gabriel Valley, they open the book and take a look what happened in 70s, 80s, 90s, and then it's the same thing. But it's all in positive,
Wow. I usually don't remember things like that easily. You just mentioned Winston Churchill. Boy, there's a good chance that one of my favorite quotes would be Winston Churchill. He's just so incredible. I just heard one from him, and it has to do with war. It was during the Second World War, and I believe the British Parliament had made a wrong decision on a vote. He wasn't happy about it, and he said, they were given a choice between shame and war. They chose shame, and they'll get war. He's just Churchill is just like always right on the spot with his quotes.
I mean, being in the military, you look back, we human beings from First World War, Second World War, constantly repeating itself. I'm hoping that we don't have Third World War. So when I stood up and do my academic discussion with the young sailors, I say, what is the reason why we have Second World War? Because we don't learn anything from First World War. So assuming, what do you think, why we will have Third World War? I'm not trying to scare you off, okay? Most likely because we did not learn anything from Second World War.
Yeah.
It's human tragedy. History constantly
Oh,
repeating itself.
you see that? Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go to my quote here. This is one of my favorite quotes, and it's a little bit unfair because I had the question beforehand so I could look it up. But this is one of my favorite quotes. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up men to gather wood, divide the work, and give orders. Instead, teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. I love that quote.
Yeah.
Can I give you one more
Oh,
quote?
wow. Yeah, that's a great one.
Only one.
Oh,
Just kidding. No.
Yeah,
Go
and that good one because of my career. The military of arts, Sun Tzu, Sun Ji Bing Fa. Okay, if you know yourself, you know your enemy, you will win all the battles. Again, how many people chose to understand themselves or understand all their enemies?
Yeah.
The chances, most of the time, we don't care. We thought we can win the world.
Another great source of quotes is Chinese culture. And, when I grew up, we would always say Confucius says,
Yeah.
And then we would have a quote. But just in this show, you said there's always one mountain higher than you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just the Chinese language and culture is just filled with these incredible, idioms and
Well, we are good at that because 5,000 years.
yeah.
Okay? But at the same time,
it's true.
But same time, it take an army to change a 5,000 years culture. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's true. But there's good and bad to having 5,000 years culture, isn't there?
But I like Sun Tzu because lately we're talking about a lot of war scenario, and I find that it's just very interesting.
The Art of War.
Art of War.
I read that book about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's an incredible
book.
Incredible.
But people like to compare with Clausewitz, right? The army like to use Clausewitz, hit the center of gravity to win the battle. So, but it's always fun to learn different philosophy, different code. So.
How about this one? Old soldiers never die; they just fade away.
Yeah, like Russell in front of me.
Well, in the interest of time, we sort of have to move the program along. So, Arthur, we're going to find out some of the things that you like in the San Gabriel Valley.
Arthur, we call it our SGV 3.
Oh,
what are
okay.
3 things that are important to you or stand out to
my
you or
God.
have been a great experience?
I spilled the beans already, but I just need to we do it again. Okay, so 3 things.
3.
Well, I start with Cal State LA. I tell you, man, it gave me my
okay.
foundation. It gave me a good quality education. And then the second thing is Sam Wu. I have to say that Sam Wu, okay, on 6th and Valley, okay.
That's the best one. That's the best one. Yes.
I kid you not, okay, back then when I left Cal State LA, I went to work, okay. So passed by that Sam Wu is just amazing, okay.
Yeah.
So even now they change ownership of 10 million times, okay. I still go back there for the wonton noodle. Wonton noodle.
On 6th and Valley, but Russell, wasn't there one right on Garvey that was close to your home?
So that one is also close, 6th and Valley. If you go under the freeway to Monterey Park, you can get there.
Yeah.
There was also one on maybe Moore or Chandler and Garvey.
Yeah, there are many of them, but the original Sam Wu was there on 6th Valley.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
So the third thing is, I have to say this. I work in that restaurant, 203 West Valley Boulevard. Okay, I don't want to tell them they are different names. Okay, I think they're called New Qingdao. I don't want to say anything about that restaurant, but it used to be called Jumbo Seafood Restaurant in the 80s. Okay, so they were the #1 live seafood restaurant. Okay, again, it just give me the good memories of San Gabriel Valley. Okay, but now you have all the good restaurants popping around there. Okay, so 203 West Valley Boulevard used to be called Jumbo Seafood Restaurant. And I earned my tuition there. I worked there for 4 years. I absolutely have a good memory. So again, 3 things. Okay, Cal State LA, Sam Wu on 6th and Valley, and my memorable place. I think now they call it New Qingdao. Okay, 203 West Valley Boulevard. Okay, so all the good things I remember is on Valley Boulevard. Believe it or not.
Oh,
okay,
yeah, right. Wow, great.
Well, I have 300 things to tell you, but I only limit to 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Commander, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your experience here in the San Gabriel Valley and with the military. If people want to get a hold of you, or I don't even know if you want that, what's the best way to get in contact with the things that you are doing?
Well, I'm a community advocate, okay? So go to Chinese American Military Support Facebook. Chinese American Military Support Facebook. And you can ask questions, you can join us. We're a non-profit organization. Start from there. And it's a private group, so you have to answer 3 simple questions. Why you join, who's a good friend. You know, you can say that, hey, I heard about Commendation Fong from the podcast. So make sure you answer the question, you know. So from there, you can ask questions, and I can talk to you more. Okay?
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Okay, 係咁先，大家，拜拜。
Well, there you go. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode with Commander Fong. I hope you learned something about his experience here in the San Gabriel Valley, and also, for if you have children of age, going to college, it's quite an interesting thing to explore, and I'd highly recommend it. The military has been a great experience for me. It may not be for everyone, but maybe don't limit your options and go check it out. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe, share it, drop us a comment, let us know how we're doing. And you can find the full back catalog of episodes on our website, mysgv.net. And until next week, we'll see you then.
Thank you for joining us on the MySGV podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Russell Mono and edited by Victoria Allers of Kind Monster Productions. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No, kind mother.